Hi, everybody. It's Zane with Sailing Views. Today I have Alex Crowell from Bahama Rigging, and he is in Kemah, Texas, Houston, Texas area. He does a lot of boat work. I know he specializes in rigging and putting new masts on boats, fixing old masts, just kind of taking care of things. I've known Alex through a junior program called Team Lyra from a long time ago. And with that, how you doing, Alex?
Doing great today. How are you doing?
I'm all right. So I gave you a little intro and told people what you do. Do you want to expand on that? Tell us a little more about what you do.
No, just been doing this since 2011. Mostly work on sailboats, racing, stuff like that. And we're now expanding into a home side too. So it's been quite the journey and
Yep,
fun.
I bet. All right, so let's talk about your sailing. When did you start sailing? What age? How'd you develop into that?
Well, yeah, I was thinking about the other day. My parents put me into sailing camp early, and I was 5 or 6 years old, and they lied about my age to get me in there. And you're supposed to be 8 years old, but I did it anyway, and did junior sailing there at Fourth Boat Club, and it was a lot of fun. Good times during the 80s, so it was fun.
All right. Who were some of your early influences? Who helped you out a lot? Who do you remember?
I think my parents first off,
Yeah.
they were everything. They got me to all the classes, and they also, my dad owned a boat, so I was always sailing every weekend with him also. So that was good. But I was thinking about my mentor on that would be a man named Hub Isaacs, and he was I think he was one of the first people to build a fiberglass snipe, and just a really good old man. He's Dr. Hub Isaacs. Look him up. He's worth reading about.
All right. Very good. All right. So, at what point did you think you were good? That you had a chance to go forward with this.
Well, I always dreamt to go sailing. I just absolutely loved it since I was a little kid. I think I took a break at 12, but ever since then, it's been. I thought I got pretty quick at about 16, sailing lasers, and we were, being well coached by all the Lyra coaches and everybody else. But really, until I was in my 20s, I didn't think I was really good. So,
Okay.
but
Well,
mostly tactical came later than just body prep and boat prep and all that at the early years.
all right. Well, we've already covered what you do for a living. So, what's your favorite boat, and why is it your favorite boat?
Every boat's my favorite boat, but now just I tell you, I guess the 22, the J22 is probably my favorite boat. It seems to be the only class that allows everybody to sail against each other.
Hmm.
I've never, since I've been a pro in sailing over half my life, it really is torn the sport down. Where the 22, whenever you go heads up against other guys, it's a whole lot of fun to actually, you have to lick your wounds every once in a while in that fleet, but it's definitely a good, strong, tough boat. It's athletic enough to, everything. And the 22 and it's an inexpensive boat to run, so that's why it's one of my favorites.
I gotcha. So you mentioned pro sailing and not getting to sail as much. Do you find yourself limited to what boats you're on or what you can do because of that?
Yeah, basically, like if I walk down the dock and there's, let's say, a J105, and I go, hey, I'd like to go sailing with him. Usually everybody goes up in arms because they're like, no, he's a pro sailor. And so then I don't sail as much with them. So I don't really get a lot of experience like on a 105, but not that you need a ton. But the then things like racing up in Newport and all that stuff, they have limited pros on board boats, which I kind of agree with. At least they're allowing pros. And then, but they have to pick their pro. And I just think the definition of pro sailing should be fixed a little better than what it is. I know now you get to make a direct payment or take payment as a sailor, which is better. But
Yeah.
I still think sailing is everybody.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, what's your favorite place to sail? Because I know you've traveled a lot. So, what's your favorite spot?
Well, my home lake on Eagle Mountain Lake is probably my favorite place because I have a mental map of that place of every shift. It's hard to say no. Like it's hard to even beat me in that place. But Yeah, I really enjoyed sailing out in California a lot. I love Monterey, St. Martin,
Yeah,
Barks, all those things on all the big boats is so much fun.
yeah,
So it's really, I don't know, it's up in the air where my favorite place is. But if I had to say anything, it'd probably be just go back in my little Opti and go home.
I got you. Yeah, when I was out there, and I know I sailed there a lot. I was working on boat speed, so I never paid any attention to the wind shifts. I couldn't tell you where a wind shift is out there to save my life, but I know they're there because there's a lot of hills and cliffs and a lot of geographical shifts. I just couldn't remember.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah,
Love
I'm sure you do. All right, so where do you see sailing going in the future? Pre-virus, after virus, but not just that, just the state of sailing overall. What do you see coming up?
This has been a conversation a lot of us have been having here is how to promote sailing. It's the hardest. It's a really hard sport to promote because it's a high cost sport.
Yeah,
The I don't see the younger generation getting out of college with debt, buying a boat like even a J24 or something like that, and then racing it. So all the junior sailors that we teach don't seem to go to the big boats in the end. The one thing that I think that kept me going in sailing was I'd sailed with my father on the big boats and also a bunch of other big boats, and it got me used to being around that level of sailing.
mm,
And so I think we just need to promote it. Where it's going to go in the future, we've already seen a decline from the 90s, and everybody always asks, what can we do to make sailing bigger? And I don't have an answer with how to do it, except for just give out free lessons and take people on my boat. Maybe they can go enjoy it and hopefully get on it. But
yeah,
we'll see. I don't know.
yep.
It's tough to answer on that.
I got you. Okay, let's see here. What is the best regatta you've had, or something that sticks out in your mind where you just had tons of fun, sailed well, something that jumps out as one of the best races or best events, or it could be cruising as well. It doesn't have to be racing.
Well, I thought hard on that, and it was probably the 2004 J80 World Championships.
Hmm.
I was, I think I was totally on top of my game. I was sailing with Jay Lutz and Joe Taylor and Derek, and we were just unstoppable. It was just a really amazing regatta. We would round a mark like second to last and be third at the weather mark, and then just go horizon job. Like it was just insane how everything just came together all the time on that. And that was definitely my favorite regatta. It's actually, when I was done with that regatta, I was like, I don't know if I could ever do that again. That's how good it was.
Yeah. All right. Now, just like that, what was your worst one?
All right, so this one, I tried to figure out what my worst regatta was besides, and I went over the budget. That's the budget is the way that, and it was a pretty funny long story. So we were in the J22, and I just got through with doing the circuit for a couple of years and all these big events, nationals, worlds, all this other stuff. And then the St. Pete Nude showed up, and my friends were like, hey man, let's go do the St. Pete Nude. I said, sure, that's no problem, boat's ready to go. So we were sponsored at that time by Shore Sales. Do you remember them?
Yeah, oh yeah, very much. Yep.
Yeah, and so we took off. Well, I drove out and just bought a new truck to me, used, driving down all the way there, and I haven't packed the bearings in maybe, I don't know, a year and a half, and I've been doing all this traveling, and ended up smoking the bearings, and both tires went past me into ditches, and it had to drag the trailer on some 2x4s that I found. They caught fire, but I got it out, and so I showed up. I got a new axle because I destroyed the spindles. By the way, I'm not like this anymore. Regatta a day late, so then I thought it was practice day, and it was the first day of the regatta. So when we went to go put the sails on the boat, the main didn't fit, and I was upset about that. But then it comes to find out it was just they did this modification I didn't know about. So we it worked out. But then we blew the jib in half that day, ripped a winch off the boat.
Wow.
I think we didn't pack a lunch. And what else happened? And that was just day one. And then, so anyway, I went in, got a new jib, had to sail with that. Terry Flynn got all pissed off at me for putting up a different jib without notifying. And then so he's threatening to protest. And then they put me on the side dock, and I had a brand new paint job on the boat, and this bolt went through the hull. So I was pretty pissed at that. And then we ended up doing the rest of the regatta. Did well. We got fourth at the end of all this stuff. And then I was like, it can't get any worse than this. So then on my way home, my transmission line blew up. I caught the truck on fire and had to disconnect the boat. So I lost all my CDs at the time, all my weather gear, toolboxes were gone, and I was just standing in the middle of the highway next to my J22, and it was just so funny because my brother-in-law came to pick up the boat, and then they bought me a flight home because I was broke, and then lo and behold, of all people, Fred Schroth heard about all the bad news, and he drove down there, picked up the boat, and brought it home. It was really nice of him to do that, and I can't thank him enough for doing that because that was a really low point sailing in my deal. So,
Dude, that sounds like a pretty amazing trip. I mean, that's definitely one for the ages. You know, I had one similar to that a couple years ago, taking a Rose 19 to Chicago. Broke the axle on the way, or it started off with just the leaf springs broke. So, you know, lashed them up, tied them on, you know, made it a couple miles. The other leaf springs broke, did the same thing. And then after that, everything broke underneath. And so I've got the axle kind of jury rigged underneath there, you know, just tying it up with some spare line. We managed to make it another 100 miles before the whole trailer disintegrated. And, you know, I didn't have tow insurance or anything like that. And, you know, I'm in the middle of Iowa or someplace, you know, nowhere. Just cornfields and windmills. And ended up having to get a tow truck, waited a day to get a tow truck because it was a Sunday, you know, on a holiday. It was just a mess. You know, ended up towing the boat to Chicago, got a new axle while I had the boat in the water, came back, started driving back home. That axle bent, you know, so then, you know, I'm rotating the axle until it's about to break. I tried beefing it up. I'm buying tires. Every time I fill up, I have to buy 2 sets of tires. It was just a fun one. So similar, just nightmare.
It's a nightmare. It happens though, like that's but now it doesn't. Like I have such a long checklist before I leave to do a regatta. People are annoyed by me, but it's, man, I don't ever want to do that again.
Yeah, when your truck catches on fire, that's a whole nother level. All right. What is the most interesting thing you've seen floating by while you're out on the water?
Oh, well, being offshore, like sailing offshore is the craziest place in the world, especially in Texas on the Gulf Coast, because we have oil rigs and platforms, anything you can think of. And at one point we went to, I was in the middle of the ocean, middle of the ocean, we were only like 20 miles offshore. And we're doing 18 knots in a Hobie 33, and I'm new to offshore scene, and something goes flying past me. And it was like, what was that? And it was basically the platforms have legs that they stand on. The platform they had decommissioned it, and we flew past one of the pilings. And then when I screamed for help, 2 more went past me on either side of the boat. So we basically blew right through the thing. And as I'm looking around, the flying fish came out of the water and slapped me in the face and scared the Jesus out of me. And yeah, that was the scariest thing I've ever seen.
I could imagine.
But now it's
yeah, no platform, just sailing through an old rig. Yeah, that would be. Yeah, you're lucky you made that.
right.
All right. So, what's your best job or best role on a boat?
You know, I feel like I'm a really great driver. I think I can drive with the best of them, but I mostly find myself crewing because I think from a pit position, or a tactician position, I can get a boat around a course with a good driver.
Yeah.
Because I'm able to keep the boat organized, sail trim up, always, you know, head on a swivel type thing, more than a driver. So it's hard to find me when I'm driving. So
Yeah.
that's what I feel is like pit or tacticians.
I got you. All right. Are you a conservative or an aggressive sailor?
I am a conservative sailor nowadays. I try to position myself to where we're not into a fouling position. I don't, you shouldn't be there in the first place. If I have to on like a match race deal, totally different deal. But
Oh yeah,
big fleet management, I usually just try to avoid just getting into a position where you get a foul and that's just you're out or points given to you or something like that. So and zero yelling on my boat, so you're not allowed to yell at all. So
yeah.
that's,
Yay! All
yeah.
right. So, what's the best maneuver or the greatest little trick you've pulled off during a race?
I have my favorite move that I did one time was in a match race, and it wasn't even like heads up. He was ahead of me, and so we're going downwind. It's blowing its butt off, and we're in J22s, and I basically watched his boat, and every time he got a puff, he was under trim basically, so he's rocking the weather a lot. So what I did is I covered him when a puff hit me, and then I just dove low, and it just rounded him to the poured into a jibe broach, and we ended up winning the regatta because of it. And it was just kind of a fun maneuver, just paying that much attention to their boat more than yours, and positioning to like get that one moment, get ahead.
Yeah, that's very good. Yeah, there's some good things you can do when you're paying attention to other people's boats, the ones right next to you.
Right.
Okay. What's your favorite project or your favorite program? I mean, you've been involved in a lot of big boat, really cool big boat programs. So what's one of your favorite ones?
One of my favorite ones is if you're from the Northeast, you'll see a boat called Leading Edge. Super nice family. The boat is very relaxed. Well, relaxed. They're very let's go. But they're willing to put the budget to make sure the boat is performing correctly. Their housing is amazing. Everything else is just a really good time with these people,
Mm-hmm.
and they just really take care of you, and they just the spirit of sailing on that boat is unbelievable. They just love sailing. I've also had a really great time on a boat called Ultravez, Cur 43. That thing was a rocking good time but it wasn't as family oriented. It was more of a
Yeah, I mean that's a full tilt boat. So yeah.
Yeah. So, but I'd say Leading Edge is probably, besides my own, is probably the best race program I've been on in my life.
All right. America's Cup. Do you love it? Do you hate it? What are your thoughts?
That's a tough one. Everybody's always crying about, oh, we like the old heads up, this and that. I think the new America's Cup is good because if you look at it, it's drawing crowds of people,
Mm-hmm.
and they're very. I went to one event and they just are explaining everything of how the boats are flying through the air and all the other stuff, and even a young viewer would like that. But going heads up against each other, tack duels, all that. I mean, I don't know. I think it's good the way that they're doing it, but nobody can afford it. But besides that, it's
Yeah.
like the same.
Yeah, it's very expensive nowadays. All right, so what future plans do you have sailing? I mean, do you have any big events coming up, or are you sort of on hold, or what's in your future?
I'm doing a lot of sailing with people just locally, nothing crazy. I try to do a world championship every year. I mean, that's my goal,
Mm-hmm.
minimum. And then, but I'm thinking about in the next 5 to 7 years, I should be just cruising on a boat somewhere. I've been racing a long time. I've been building a 43-foot Beneteau to do things, and it's we'll see. But I mean, I still enjoy the hunt. I like to go out and race, but
Yeah.
definitely toning it down. I just tired of my weekends being burned up all the time, and I got a lot going on with
Yeah.
kids and chickens, you name it. So
Kids and chickens. Don't forget the bunny rabbits, man.
yeah, motorcycle rides and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, it's funny that you've got chickens and rabbits. I had a friend of mine came over to my house last month. He's like, "Hey, help me unload something out of my truck." I was like, "All right, what is it?" He's got a chicken coop. He's got a bunch of turkeys, chickens, and rabbits, and he sets all this stuff up in my backyard because his house was an hour away. He needed a place to drop it off. I had chickens in my backyard for like a month. I'm like, dude, you got to get these things out of here. I'm not supposed to have chickens here.
Right.
All right. So, what do you think of women sailing? I mean,
I love women's sailing, and I used to coach women's sailing for Rolex stuff.
Yeah.
I used to do that in 22s a lot, and then we ended up. But then I started sailing with one girl named Natalie, and it was kind of interesting because she didn't feel like there should be a women's group. She felt like she should have to measure against men, and it was a different atmosphere with her because she was so aggressive and everything else, and it was neat, you know. But at the same time, I really do like seeing women sailing. We help support like Houston Yacht Club's women's sailing. I get them shirts every once in a while, and we do. If they have a problem, we run out there and no charge them. You know, we just I'm always there to help them and teach them, and I think women's sailing is great.
Yeah. I mean, I know I support him, and it's, you know, like you said, some women say, you know, they want to be with just women. Some women say, let us go head to head with the guys. I don't know. You know, I'll take whatever cause, you know, but I don't really know what's best.
Yeah, I mean, we like on Natalie's boat, we always had to. There was definitely a strength issue. And like big breeze and stuff like that. But like what we would have to do is just like shift. Like I would do main sheet. She would just drive the boat, and then you know we'd change things up to make it. And that was good for me because I'm able to just pull a jib in without a wind channel. I don't care, you know. I just muscle it in, and then but once you start learning that you know that's what they have to deal with, then you figure out other ways, and it actually helps you out later on too. But yeah, Natalie was just so aggressive, and she just would never quit. She's like a little bulldog back there.
All right. So do you have any ideas on how we can grow the sport of sailing?
Well, I'm doing what I can. We've talked before, you know, that I've started what we call the SDR. And I'm just trying to keep people sailing as much as possible because, and I think just people getting their families out on the boat would be a great way to start. Yeah. And even if your family or your kids aren't into opti sailing, racing around the world, national events, blah, 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 as long as they just love sailing, then that's how you grow the sport because, you know, once your kids have kids, then they're maybe they'll get into racing, you know, and
right.
Your parents would understand it. But that's, you know, the lineage, you got to keep it going and do what you can to just get these kids whatever's fun, like just make it fun.
Yeah.
That's how we pursue sailing. So.
All right. So we're getting close to the end here, but what's your best advice for new people, new sailors, or people that are thinking about getting into it?
Definitely find a boat that other people have heard of. Would be one like a J boat or a Beneteau or something like that there's a good forum on. Definitely take some sort of lessons before so you don't get frustrated. Because sailing is a very frustrating sport. You're not able to go exactly where you want to go all the time. So you need to be able to understand that, you know, how the boat maneuvers and everything else. And don't buy the cheapest boat you can. Man, we learn that all the time here. If you get a free boat, there's nothing more expensive. So, you know, if you're thinking about budgeting and stuff like that. You know,
I just sent 3 free boats to your area to a guy over there at Kima, Texas. So I think he's trying to give them away already. But
yeah.
All right. So do you have anything else to add?
No, I really hope that everybody just loves sailing. I really enjoy competing against everybody, and I hope to see everybody out there some more. If you ever have any questions or anything, I'm always willing to help out and about anything. So you can find me here at Bahama Rigging and see what I can do to help you out.
All right, very good. Okay, everybody, this is Zane with Sailing Views. This has been Alex Crowell from Bahama Rigging. He is a great sailor, great rigger, super nice, all-around good guy. Definitely take care of you. So if you ever need anything, give him a call. He's based out of Texas, so there you go. All right, everybody, don't forget to like, subscribe, pass this on to your friends, share it on Facebook, do whatever you have to do. Let's get more people, more views. I've got a lot more interviews coming up to you soon, so a new video every day. So, like you say, don't miss them out, or don't miss out on any of them. All right, here we go. Over, out, bye-bye.
Bye.